everyone, I'm Helen from Susan's family. Today I'm bringing you a nested square couple vests. The electronic tutorial can be found on susodiy.com. The vest comes in multiple sizes. The making method is largely the same. It is made up of the front piece, the back piece, the neckline, cuffs and the hem. Start by crocheting the front and back pieces separately, and then connect the pieces. Once completed, pick up the corresponding positions, and crochet the remaining parts. First, crochet the front piece. It is made up of the motif, neck opening, and armhole. Among them, 2 sizes require crocheting the shoulder neck part. 2 sizes require crocheting the side part. Start by making and connecting the motifs. Once completed, pick up the corresponding positions and crochet the remaining parts. Here there are 3 types of motifs. I will call the complete one motif 1. The 2 on the shoulders are motif 2 and motif 3. Here, the motifs are worked and joined as you go. Start by crocheting one complete motif 1. The remaining motif 1 is worked and joined along the outermost round, and after motif 1 is completed, then make motif 2 and motif 3. First, crochet a complete motif 1. Start with a magic ring. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise, working outward. You'll need to change colors while crocheting. The stitches used are chain, single crochet, double crochet, and slip stitch. Watch my demonstration for the detailed crochet method to make it clearer for everyone. I'll demonstrate using cotton yarn. The colors are random. For specific yarn, color schemes and hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the charts. First, start with a magic ring. Pick up the yarn tail with your right hand and wrap it around your left index finger twice. Now there are 3 strands on your left index finger. Use your right thumb and index finger to pinch where the loops overlap. Take it out. Then wrap the yarn tail around your left little finger once. Pass it through between the middle finger and index finger. Move the loop to your left middle finger, between it and the thumb. Pick up the hook with your right hand, insert it into the loop. Position the hook to the left side of the yarn, and wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. Now there is 1 loop on your hook. Continue with 1 chain to secure. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through the loop on your hook. 1 chain is done. The magic ring is now completed. Next, we'll work on the first round. Make 3 chains to start. 1, 2, 3. Treat these 3 chains as 1 double crochet. Next, make a double crochet. First, yarn over. Insert the hook into the magic ring. Then yarn over again. Pull the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. Now there are 2 loops left. Yarn over again, and draw through in once. 1 double crochet is completed. The braid on the upper right is its stitch. 1 stitch means 1 double crochet. Continue to crochet the second stitch. First, yarn over. Insert the hook. Pull the yarn through. Yarn over again, and draw through the first 2 loops on the hook. Repeat twice. Once. Twice. The second double crochet is completed. We will treat this beginning chain and 2 double crochets as one leaf. Because there is a beginning chain at the start, the crochet method here is a bit special. Next, chain 2. Then crochet the second leaf, which is 3 double crochets. After completing, chain 2. Then crochet the third leaf. After completing, chain 2 again. Crochet the fourth leaf. If there's not enough space, you can move the completed stitches backward and continue crocheting. After completing, continue chaining 2. Then close the magic ring. There are 2 loops in total. First, gently pull the starting yarn tail. You can see one loop is movable. Tighten the movable loop. Only one loop is left. Simply pull tight the starting yarn tail. This way the loop is closed neatly. Finally, slip stitch into the top of the beginning chain. Locate the third chain of the beginning chain. Insert the hook under both loops. Yarn over, draw the yarn through, pull through all loops on the hook in one go. Complete the slip stitch. At this point, check the right side texture of the piece, it looks clear. The wrong side texture appears blurry. Keep the right side facing you throughout the crocheting process. The next round requires a color change. Proceed to break the yarn. First, secure with 1 chain. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Pull tight. Weave the yarn tail to the wrong side of the piece. You can weave in a few more stitches. Handle the starting yarn tail the same way, just weave it to the back. That's all for the first round. Now move on to crochet the second round. Pick up the corresponding color. Make a slip knot. Then insert the hook into any chain space of the previous round. Hook out the loop of the slip knot. Adjust it slightly. Mindful that the knot doesn't show on the right side. Next, make 3 beginning chains. Crochet 2 double crochets into the hole underneath. Remember to weave the yarn tail for joining. That's the first leaf done. It also has a beginning chain, quite special. Next, crochet 1 chain space. then into the left side chain space. Crochet 2 leaves. Between the leaves crochet 2 chains, no need to weave the yarn here. I consider this spot as a corner for this round. After completing it, crochet 1 chain space. Then pick up the chain spaces downward to work the corner, meaning crochet 2 leaves into 1 space. Crochet 2 chains between. Leave 1 chain between corners. Continue crocheting downward using this method. When reaching the starting chain space, crochet 1 leaf. Since there's no color change needed for the next round, the connection at the beginning and end here is slightly different from before. First crochet 1 chain, then into the 3rd chain position of the beginning chain. Pick up 2 threads and crochet 1 single crochet to connect. Insert. Yarn over and draw through. There are 2 loops on your hook. Continue to yarn over, draw through in once. Complete the single crochet. This single crochet replaces 1 chain. And at the same time connects the beginning and end together. The second round is complete. Now crochet the 3rd round. Make 3 beginning chains as the starting point. Then pick up the space underneath and crochet 2 double crochets. This completes the first special leaf. The following leaves are all made up of 3 chains and 2 double crochets. I won't explain in detail later. After completing, crochet 1 chain space. Then pick up the adjacent chain space. Crochet 1 leaf. One chain space. Here I consider 1 leaf and the left and right 1 chain as one side of this round. Next pick up the adjacent chain space. Crochet the same corner as the previous round, which means 2 leaves, with 2 chains in between. Refer to the earlier method for sides and corners or the chart. Continue crocheting 3 sides and 2 corners. After completing, you'll reach the starting position. Pick up the chain space and crochet 1 leaf. Next round requires a color change at the connection point of the beginning and end. The technique is the same as round 1. First, crochet 2 chains, then at the top of the starting chain, which is the third chain, crochet 1 slip stitch to connect. Finally, fasten off the yarn. First, secure with 1 chain. Leave a little yarn tail. Cut the yarn. Tighten. Round 3 is complete. Weave the yarn tail on the wrong side of the piece. Next, crochet round 4. Start by joining the yarn in the chain space at the corner of the previous round. Then chain to start the first leaf. The following technique is similar to the previous round. Everyone can follow the chart directly. Since the next round requires a color change, when joining the beginning and ending, follow the ending technique of the previous round. Work this round completely. Once completed, round 4 is done. When the next round requires a color change, connect the beginning and ending with a slip stitch. Refer to round 3 and round 4 for the technique. If the next round does not require a color change, connect with single crochets. Refer to round 2 for the technique. Follow this method. Continue referring to the chart. Complete the corresponding rounds shown in the chart. Weave all yarn tails to the wrong side of the piece. After finishing motif 1, you can refer to the chart, match up the dimensions of the motif. If there's a big difference, it's recommended to change the hook size, or adjust your tension and crochet again. Continue crocheting the remaining motif 1 pieces and join them. I'll move from left to right, and bottom to top to connect motif 1. Use the completed motif 1 as the leftmost motif in row 1. Continue crocheting the second motif on the right and connect it. Here you need to connect 2 corners and 1 side. First refer to the chart. Crochet up to the position right before the corner where you need to connect. You can crochet up to any corner position. I'm using a sample to demonstrate. The rounds and color scheme are not for reference, only demonstrating the method. I've already completed crocheting here. Continue crocheting the corner and connect it. First crochet 1 leaf. Then chain 1 stitch. Next, stretch the loop. Remove the hook. At this point, pick up the first motif. Align the wrong sides of the 2 motifs together. Insert the hook into any corner chain space from the front side of the first motif. Insert the hook into the chain space of the corner. Draw through the loop that was left. Then, Chain 1 stitch. Return to the second motif. Pick up the chain space at the corner and crochet 1 leaf. Now this corner is completed. The corners of the two motifs are now connected together. After completing that, work the edges downward while joining. First, chain 1 stitch for the space. Then, stretch the loop. Remove the hook. Find the corresponding edge on the first motif. Insert into the corresponding chain space. Draw through the loop that was left. Then return to the second motif. Pick up the chain space and crochet a leaf. One connection is now completed. Chain 1 stitch downward. Then, remove the hook at the corresponding chain space on the first motif. Draw through the loop that was left. Return to the second motif. Crochet 1 leaf. The second connection is now completed. The following connections are all the same. Repeat this process. Connect along this side until it's finished. After completing, continue crocheting downward and connect the second corner. First, crochet 1 leaf. Then chain 1 stitch. Insert the hook into the corresponding corner chain space of the first motif. Draw through the loop. Next, chain 1 stitch. The connection is now completed. Return to the second motif. Continue finishing this corner. Remaining part? No connection needed. Follow the same outermost round method as the first motif. Continue crocheting accordingly. Cut the yarn after completing. At this point, one side of the two motifs is now connected. Next, connect the third motif. Use the same method. Crochet up to the corner position, where connection is needed. I've already crocheted here. Then connect it to the corner on this side of the second motif. After completing, continue connecting the edge downward. Next, connect the corners. Leave the remaining part unconnected after completing. Crochet accordingly. Finally, cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail to the wrong side. From now on, follow this method. Crochet and connect all the motifs needed for the first row. With that, the explanation for connecting the first row of motifs is complete. Crochet downward and connect the second row of motif 1. Here are some sizes. You need to crochet and connect 5 motifs. Some sizes only require crocheting and connecting 3 motifs, but the method is the same. Here I'll demonstrate the method using 3 motifs as an example. Start by referring to the previous method. Follow the chart. Crochet up to the corner position of the first motif, where connection is needed. I've already reached the corresponding position here. Crochet downward and connect the corner. Find the corner position that needs to be connected. This corner has already been connected once before. Pick up the braid from the previous connection. Draw the loop through. Continue with 1 chain. The connection is completed. Return to the corresponding motif and continue completing the corner crochet. Next, crochet and connect the next side and the next corner. Again, this corner was connected once before. Pick up the braid from the connection. Draw the loop through. Complete the connection. Then finish off this corner. No connection needed for the remaining. Crochet accordingly. Once done, the first motif of the second row is connected. Move down to connect the second motif. 3 corners and 2 sides need to be connected. First, crochet using the previous method, connected 1 corner and 1 side. I've crocheted to the corresponding position here. Move down to connect the next corner. Connect here at the previously connected corner position. Same method, pick up the braid and insert the hook. Continue completing the corner. Crochet and connect the next side and next corner. When connecting the next corner, still pick up the braid and insert the hook. Part that doesn't need to be connected, crochet accordingly. Crochet and connect this motif completely. The second motif is now connected and completed. Remaining motifs in this row, follow the same method as the second motif. Crochet and connect them accordingly. The method for remaining rows of motifs is the same as the second row. Please refer to the chart. Crochet and connect the remaining motif 1 to complete it. At this point, the crocheting and connecting of motif 1 is explained. Next, crochet and connect motif 2 and motif 3. Here, the method for small and medium sizes is the same. The method for large and extra large sizes is also the same. So I will explain it in 2 cases. Since the stitch technique used here will also appear in other parts later, I suggest everyone learn the method first. Then proceed with crocheting according to your corresponding size. Here, I will demonstrate the first case. The first 4 rounds of this motif are exactly the same as motif 1. Except the outer side is not a complete round. You need to leave some positions unworked. The new stitch techniques used are half double crochets and DC2 bobble. Please watch my demonstration. Let's start by crocheting motif 2. First, complete the first 4 rounds. Here, I've already crocheted them. Now work on row 5. Find a chain space at any corner of the motif to join the yarn. Then make 3 beginning chains. Work 1 double crochet in the same position. Next, chain 1 space. Follow the outermost round crochet method of motif 1. Crochet 2 sides and 1 corner. After that, crochet 2 corners and 1 side. Here, you need to join with the side and corner of motif 1 below. Please refer to the chart for details. Continue crocheting the 2 corners and the side. After completing, crochet the remaining parts. Here I'll demonstrate the method using this small sample. Continue with 1 chain space. Then pick up in the adjacent chain space and work 1 leaf. One chain space. Then pick up in the next chain space. Work a half double crochet. Yarn over, insert the hook. Yarn over and pull through. There are now 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through in once. Complete the half double crochet. Continue with 1 half double crochet. Yarn over, insert the hook. Yarn over and pull through, then yarn over and draw through all loops on the hook. Complete the half double crochet. Work 1 single crochet in the same position. Pick up the adjacent double crochet. Work 1 slip stitch. Finally cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail into the wrong side. This concludes the method for motif 2. Motif 3 follows the same method. Start by crocheting the first 4 rounds as in motif 1. Complete, and then work round 5. Locate any centered chain space on the 4th round. Join the yarn to the double crochet on the right side of the space. Then make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Next, pick up the chain space to the left. Work 1 single crochet and 2 half double crochets. Remember to weave in the yarn. Complete, and then work 1 chain space. Pick up the adjacent chain space and crochet 1 leaf. One chain space. Continue crocheting 2 corners and 1 side going downward, and connect it with the side and corner of motif 1 below. Once completed, continue crocheting 2 sides and 1 corner. Everyone complete this part. Once completed, you've now reached the next corner position. I'll use this sample to demonstrate the method. Pick up the chain space here. Work a DC2 bobble. First, make 2 unclosed double crochets. Yarn over once with the hook. Insert in 2. Yarn over and draw through. Then yarn over and draw through the first 2 loops. There are 2 loops remaining. This is an unclosed double crochet. Continue with another unclosed double crochet. Now there are 3 loops on the hook. Yarn over, draw through once. Completing the DC2 bobble. Finally, cut the yarn. Weave the yarn tail to the wrong side. That's the end of the explanation for motif 3. At this point, motif 2 of the first scenario and motif 3 have been explained. Next, I will explain motif 2 and motif 3 of the second scenario. Again, start by crocheting motif 2. The first 3 rounds are crocheted in advance following the method of motif 1. Once completed, join the yarn into the chain space at any corner, then crochet the special leaf. Then continue to crochet the edges and corners to the left correspondingly. Keep crocheting all the way up to before the position of the 4th corner. My sample has already reached the corresponding position here. Pick up the hook into the corner space and crochet. First, crochet 1 leaf. Two chains. In the same space, crochet 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet, 1 single crochet. Pick up the adjacent double crochet next to it. Crochet 1 slip stitch. Then cut the yarn. This completes row 4. Now crochet row 5. At the top of the beginning chain from the previous row, pick up the hook into the back loop of the third chain. Join the yarn. Then make 3 chains. From here on, follow the chart for crocheting. Pay attention, the stitch pattern at the second corner changes. The method for the fourth corner is the same as the previous row. Complete this row. Fasten off the yarn when done. This completes row 5. Next is row 6. Attach the yarn to the beginning chain. Chain 3. Then crochet to the left. Also pay attention to the second and fourth corners. And work and join along the bottom 2 corners and one side as you go. When joining at the fourth corner, connect after completing 1 chain. The method is the same as before. Continue following the chart to complete this row. That's all for motif 2. Next, I'll explain motif 3. The method is the same. First work the first 3 rounds. Attach the yarn to the corner space of 1 corner. Then work row by row downward. On the last row, the first 2 corners and one side need to be worked and joined as you go. Pay attention, the stitch technique changes at the third corner. Continue referring to the chart to complete motif 3 crocheting. At this point, both scenarios for motif 2 and motif 3 have been explained, and the entire section on motifs is now fully explained. Next, we'll work on the side panel. This part is only required for medium and large sizes. Other sizes can skip this section. Here I'll use a sample to explain and demonstrate the method. I'll first explain the method for the large size. With the right side facing you, start crocheting along the side edges of the first 2 rows of the motif. Crochet one side first. Here, at the first row of the motif, join the yarn at the corner space. Then crochet 1 special leaf. After completing it, pick up chain spaces downward 1 by 1. Crochet corresponding leaves, with a 1 chain space interval between them. when you reach the connection position of the motif. Pick a middle position that roughly corresponds. Crochet a leaf, and that's it. Continue crocheting afterward. Crochet through the chain spaces at the edge of the second row of the motif. Then break the yarn and move on. This side is now completed. The method for the medium size is the same. At the edge space of the first row, crochet all the way to another edge space. It's all about crocheting leaves, with a 1 chain space in between. For the larger size on the other side, join the yarn at the chain space on the edge of the second row, then crochet to the edge space of the first row. For the medium size, start from the edge of the first row, and crochet to the other edge. That's all for the side. Next, we'll crochet the shoulder neck part. Only the small and medium sizes need to crochet this part. The other sizes can skip this part. The shoulder neck parts are crocheted on top of motif 2 and motif 3. Here I'll demonstrate using a sample. First, crochet one side of the shoulder neck part on top of motif 2. Row 1 is worked on the wrong side, so hold the wrong side of the motif facing you. Then join the yarn at the chain space at the corner. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Work 2 single crochets in the same space. Then make 1 chain space after that. Pick up the adjacent chain space, and work 3 half double crochets. Continue crocheting according to the chart. The stitch count on the sample is not for reference. When reaching the last chain space, correspondingly make 1 double crochet. Pick up the adjacent double crochet and work 1 double crochet. Mindful that when crocheting on the wrong side, the stitches are located at the upper left. This completes row 1. Continue to crochet row 2. Make 3 beginning chains. Turn the piece counterclockwise. This row is crocheted on the right side. Work 1 chain space downward. Then pick up the chain space on the left and crochet accordingly. Refer to the chart for specific stitch techniques. The stitch count on the sample is not for reference. Finish the last chain space. Leave the remaining stitches unworked. Fasten off the yarn. Weave the yarn tail into the piece. The crochet explanation for one side of the shoulder neck is finished. The method for the other side is the same. Row 1 is crocheted on the wrong side. Insert the hook into the stitch of the bobble stitch on the edge here. Join the yarn. Continue crocheting according to the chart downward. Finish the chain space on the edge. Row 1 is now completed. Continue to crochet row 2. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Turn. Work single crochets into the chain spaces downward. Continue crocheting according to the chart afterward. Finish this row. Complete the last chain space. Continue with 1 chain space, then work 1 double crochet at the top of the turning chain from the previous row. Finally fasten off the yarn. Weave the yarn tail into the piece. That's all for the explanation of the shoulder neck section. Now proceed to make the neck opening. Some sizes use the same method here, so it will also be explained in 2 cases. The crocheting methods are similar, only the stitch count and insertion positions are slightly different. Here I'll explain the method for the first case first. A new stitch technique will be used, DC6 tog, and this stitch technique will be used in both cases. It's recommended to learn the method first. Please watch my demonstration. I'll continue demonstrating with a small sample. First, pick up the corresponding yarn. Locate the neck opening area. Then on the side of motif 3 on the right side, attach the yarn at the first chain space from the edge. Then make 1 beginning chain. Correspondingly work 1 single crochet. Then skip 1 chain space and work down. Pick up the adjacent chain space and work 1 single crochet, 1 half double crochet and 1 double crochet. Finish with 1 chain space. Then pick up at the connection of the motif and work a leaf. Continue with 1 chain space after completing, then pick up at the chain space above this motif. Correspondingly work leaves 1 by 1, with 1 chain space in between. When reaching the connection of a motif, work 1 leaf. One chain space. Pick up at the chain space of this motif from the back. Crochet 1 double crochet, 1 half double crochet and 1 single crochet. Finish with 1 chain space. Then pick up at the next chain space. Work 1 single crochet and 1 slip stitch. Break the yarn. That's all for the first row. Move on to the second row. Join the yarn in the first chain space of the previous row. Make 1 beginning chain to start. Correspondingly make 1 single crochet and 1 half double crochet. Then work 1 chain space. Pick up the next 2 adjacent chain spaces going downward. Work DC6 tog. First pick up the left side chain space. Work 3 unclosed double crochets. 1, 2, 3. Then pick up the left side chain space and work 3 unclosed double crochets. There are now 7 loops on the hook. Yarn over, and draw through in once. Complete the DC6 tog. Work 1 chain space at the back. Pick up the next adjacent chain space, and correspondingly make a leaf. 1 chain space in between. Keep working until pick up the leaf at the connecting position. Position of the previous chain space. Leave this position unworked for now. When reaching the corresponding position, work DC6 tog downward. Pick up 2 chain spaces separately. Work 3 unclosed double crochets in each chain space. Finally yarn over, and draw through in once. Complete the DC6 tog. Work 1 chain space at the back. Then pick up the adjacent chain space. Work 1 half double crochet. 1 single crochet. And 1 slip stitch. Fasten off the yarn. Weave all yarn tails to the wrong side of the piece. Now the first case of the neckline is explained. The second case also involves working 2 rows. Crochet from the inner side of motif 3 to the inner side of motif 2. The stitch techniques used in the first case have all been demonstrated, and the insertion positions are marked on the chart. Moving forward, please refer to the chart, and complete the neckline for the second case. That concludes the explanation of the neckline section. Next, we'll work on the underarm area, divided into left and right sides. The left and right mentioned here are determined based on the actual wearing position. Each row is worked from right to left by picking up the corresponding positions. This part also shares the same method across some sizes, divided into 2 cases, but the methods are similar, only the stitch techniques differ in certain areas. Here, I'll explain the right underarm first. Using the method for the first case, with the front side of the motif facing you, and the neckline position to the right. Start chaining from the edge on this side. I have a shoulder neck section here. Pick up stitches along the edge of row 1, by inserting the hook into the chain spaces on the edge. Then make 3 chains. Next, pick up the chain space at the corner of the motif. Work 2 double crochets. Followed by 1 chain space. Then pick up chain spaces down the side of the motif to crochet the leaves, with 1 chain space in between. When reaching the connection point of the motifs, pick up a stitch at the joint and crochet one leaf. Continue in this way, all the way to the corner at the bottom. Before the connection point. When reaching the corresponding position, pick down and crochet one leaf at the joint. Followed by one chain space. Continue picking up chain spaces from the adjacent motif below, and crochet the leaves correspondingly, with one chain space in between, all the way to the edge. For small size, finish the leaf at the edge hole, and then cut the yarn directly. For medium size, continue with one chain. Then on the side body, pick up one position at the edge and crochet a double crochet, finally cut the yarn. With that, the first row is complete. Continue to the second row. Join the yarn at the second chain space from the start of the previous row. Then make one chain to begin. Crochet 2 single crochets correspondingly. One chain space following. Pick up the adjacent chain space and crochet 3 half double crochets. One chain space. Continue picking up chain spaces afterward. Work the leaves one by one correspondingly. One chain space in between. Keep crocheting until reaching the leaf at the corner, before the previous chain. Similarly, leave this chain unworked for now. When reaching the corresponding position, pick up the chain spaces on both sides of the corner leaf here. Crochet DC6 tog. Similarly, work 3 unclosed double crochets in the same space. Yarn over at the end, and draw through all in once. Complete the DC6 tog. Continue picking up chain spaces and crocheting leaves afterward. One chain space in between. For the small size, finish the last chain space. Continue picking up the stitches of the edge double crochets. Crochet 1 double crochet. Finally cut the yarn. For the medium size, after finishing the last hole here, simply break the yarn. This concludes the explanation for the second row. The following rows are done in a similar way. Just pick up the corresponding position on the right side and join the yarn. Then crochet from right to left until the corresponding position. And moving forward, you'll always need to work on top of the DC6 tog. Pick the holes on its left and right. Work DC6 tog. After finishing each row, you need to cut the yarn. Finally, weave all the yarn tails to the wrong side of the piece. Moving forward, please refer to the chart. Crochet the corresponding rows on this side. This is the first scenario. For the second scenario, place the motif front side facing forward as well, with the neck opening on the right. Then, at this edge, join the yarn at the corresponding position. Then continue crocheting downward. Please refer to the chart for details. This concludes the explanation for the right armhole. Next, we'll crochet the left armhole. Again, I'll first explain the method for the first scenario. Here, I'll use a completed sample to demonstrate. For the small size, attach the yarn at the chain space on the edge of the motif on this symmetrical side. For the medium size, there is a side seam. Pick up one stitch along the edge and join the yarn. Then crochet towards the left. When reaching the corner, crochet one leaf. Continue crocheting downward until the first row of the shoulder neck edge. The last stitch is worked into the chain space of this row's edge. This concludes the explanation for the first row's method. Fasten off the yarn. For the second row, join the yarn in the starting chain of the previous row. Insert the hook into the back loop of the third chain. Then start crocheting towards the left, following the corresponding stitch pattern. The following rows all begin by joining the yarn at the corresponding position on this side, and crochet from right to left. Each row needs to fasten off the yarn after completing. Moving forward, everyone can refer to the chart to complete the underarm area on the left side. Second scenario. Also start crocheting by joining the yarn at the edge of the motif on this side. Continue crocheting all the way until reaching the chain space at the edge of motif 3. Refer to the chart for the specific stitch patterns. With that, the explanation for the underarm section is now complete. Up to this point, the making of the front pieces is now completely explained.